Hey, it's Chevy Roach from Life Below Zero. Just bringing you another little YouTube video here. I'm out on a little walk. It's 38 below this morning, and I'm gonna start a little fire in the woods at this type of temperature. And so what I'm gonna be looking for, I'm kind of acting like my snow machine's broke down. I'm out trapping. I gotta come home, and what I'm going to look for is fuel, and what that is I'm looking for is either dry spruce or birch bark. And this is a really tough environment to start a fire in, for the reasoning that just a week ago we had a lot of freezing rain, so everything here was just covered. Everything's covered in ice, and all I got on me is the stuff that I would normally have. I didn't bring an axe. One thing is, and I know this, is that this is a controlled environment. If you were walking or lost or far away from home, you'd be cold already, probably. There would be a little sense of panic wanting to ease in to you. And so the important thing is just try to stay calm and really try to keep that body temp up with movement. Find your fuel, be active, getting your fuel, stay busy working in an area so you can build up that core temperature before you attempt to try to build a fire. Where I want to start my fire probably won't be in a birch forest. I want to be starting my fire somewhere where I got a little bit more tree cover, in the middle of some spruce and some stuff where I could find my other fuel close by, break off branches and stuff. I would start it in something thick like this. I'd knock off some of that snow and I'd go in the middle of that, and I got natural shelter on the inside, and a place where the wind picks up. It's going to keep the wind off of me, and I got fuel. I could break branches off of those spruce trees and find some stuff. So that's kind of where I would look to build a fire. So I'm looking for paper birch. A lot of the birch bark is frozen hard, so what I'm looking for is this right here that I could peel off easily. It's not that much, but it's got a lot of oil in it, and it burns very easily. But some birch, doesn't have it. It's hard to get to. It's just smooth like this, or it's hard to rip it off. So you want to find that birch tree that has it. And I'm just filling up my pocket with it. I'm getting as much of that as I can while I see birch trees. Here's a perfect birch like this. I always wear liners in my beaver mitts like this. My hands are already getting really cold, having them outside of those mittens, just getting birch bark. So it takes time. Don't rush it. If your hands start to get cold, put them back in your glove and do something else productive with your time. Get your fire area ready. But listen to your body. Don't get tough. This is just the way it is. I'm just gonna do this. It must be freezing. Yeah, well, when your hands start to tingle and get numb, it's for a reason. It's telling you to put your freaking gloves on and move. Super important to wear a hood. You don't want to get wet. You don't want to let that snow get down your back. So if you got a hood, put it on. I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna start my fire right there. That's where I'm gonna start my fire. There's limited snow cover from all these trees. You can see where I was walking out there, 2 foot deep. In here, I got 6 inches of snow. Once again, I'm just letting my hands warm up, so I'm doing something else. I'm gonna build up a base of kindling. I'm gonna try to find some big logs I can start warming up around here. I'm not gonna start that fire right on the ground. I'm gonna start it on top of other twigs. And if this was a life or death situation right here, I know I'd be a lot colder than I am, and it just takes a ton of focus and mental strength just to fight through the coldness and keep stuff moving. This is all dry, dead spruce. It's at the bottom of the trees. I'm getting all this from the bottom of the trees in here. Like so many things out here, sometimes survival isn't super pretty. Sometimes starting a fire in certain areas isn't pretty. Sometimes killing stuff isn't always pretty. But it's reality is what it is. So welcome to it. All right, I got enough stuff. Now what I'm gonna look for is I wanna walk around. My hands are warm again. From not having to have my mitts off. I'm gonna walk around. I want to try to find some dead wood, something that's probably something I could break with my hands and my knees. I want to try to locate that. That little kindling is just not going to burn long enough when I get the fire going. I really want to have something with a bigger diameter, and it's got to be dead. I can't be burning. I can't break off this green. Anything with these evergreens, that's not going to burn. Snow on everything. It makes it really hard to see what's dead and what's alive. All right, here's my saving grace right here. That's what I'm looking for. It's only about 2 inches in diameter, but that's enough to where I could leave that fire and go find more wood when I need to. Nice little trees like that. No axe, no saw. Okay, if I could find a few more like that, I'd be confident starting that fire and getting it going. Not only are you fighting the cold, you're fighting your own heat too. When you do start working, you really don't want to work too hard, too much. I don't want to just start, see these guys just start running around in the woods and just collecting 10,000 trees, shirts off, hotter than hot. If you got a tent or something to dry your stuff out, that's cool, but in my world, just do a little bit of time, because you don't want to build up too much heat. You don't want to get sweaty. You could take off a jacket and go and stuff like that to try to keep cool, but that's tough, because you're going to get the inside of your stuff wet. You're already hot. I really never want to take my jacket off, not when it's 40 below, because unless you got a tent or you know you're going to be warm somewhere, don't take your jacket off. It's just, you're already hot in there. You start working and doing stuff, you're banging around in these trees, your stuff's gonna get wet, and you're never gonna dry it back out. So just some things to think about. I'm gonna try to get this fire going. Wood's frozen hard. What a difference compared to the summertime when you do this. This is not a hard wood. This is you know, regular black or white spruce. So it's not a hard wood. It's just frozen so hard that it feels like it. my birch bark, tear it up a little bit, put it amongst that kindling. I always have a lighter. If you're gonna be out in the woods doing anything, especially if it's 40 below. Okay, I got my birch bark going. I'm just gonna kind of help it a little bit here with another piece. I'm leaving all my birch bark in my pocket. I'm not setting it on the ground. I don't want any moisture to get in there. I'm really just gonna hand spoon feed this fire. This black stuff that's on these branches is really good also. Having a hard time getting just that birch bark to start just because it's got a little bit of moisture in it. Oh, there you go. This is why I'm out here doing it, because it's just a reminder of how hard it is for this stuff just to light off when you've had this kind of weather with ice and everything around there. It just makes it so much tougher. Everything's just got moisture on it. It's just, it's good to do this. I don't care how many times you've been out in the woods or you do stuff. For me, it's important to get out in a controlled situation like this and remind myself what I need, how hard it could be to do this, and to prepare even better for it and think about it. So it's just gonna take me, you know, it's I tried getting that fire going, and with birch, and a lot of birch, and small dead spruce, which are always, you know, it's like paper you're putting it on there. But because of the moisture content, because of all that freezing rain we've had out here, it is tough to start a fire as I thought it was going to be. So yeah, I gotta, you know, regroup and think about what I need to do to be able to get this fire started. And the one thing I could see is that you just got to have a lot more fuel as far as birch bark, a lot more fuel. Maybe start just a little bit smaller, but it's hard for those coals to develop. Once that's burning up that fuel, especially with no axe, with no split wood, I got to have a little bit more kindling. So I'm just going to spend some time and getting a bunch of kindling down on the bottom of this. Then I'm going to start with birch again and go from there. First, I'm going to let my hands warm up. That's a tough go. It really is. Get those coals going. I got my survival starter in there, some tissue and some lint, and every once in a while I'll pack those marine military things that are really flammable. They come in a little I really wanted to start it with natural things. I usually have more than that in my pockets just for this situation, so I could really get it going quick. But I wanted to use birch and birch and spruce just to see how long it takes. And whew, that's tough, and it's still just not taking off. It's just not. I got to keep blowing on. I got a good coal base now, but everything's so wet. Really want to tender to this fire. You really want to have it going. You don't want to walk away from it right now. It's kind of obvious, but you just say it anyways. You want to get this thing rolling before you walk away. And I got enough fuel here to get it going. And then warm your hands. See if you could dry some stuff out, and then just try to get this thing big. Try to get this fire as big as you can with the resources you have around you. All right, well that took way too long. Kind of surprising. You know, just a really good reminder of just when conditions change and they're kind of the worst, with wet and then super cold on top of it, how tough it could be to have a fire. It's important to have that fire starter in your pocket, and you know, be prepared and just humble yourself that, man, you think you started a lot of fires, and I have, but when you have the really bad conditions, it makes for a long time. And if you were trying to keep a kid warm, or, you know, in a real tough situation, you got to be able to start a fire a little faster than I did. That probably took me about 30 minutes to get that going to there. And I'm not out of the woods yet. I gotta find good fuel for that to go on. And in a situation like I said, I'd be putting this underneath one of these trees, and I'd be trying to light one of these trees on fire. I'm not going to do it right now because I'm not in that real survival situation, but that's what I would do. I'd get it underneath one of these trees and try to get a tree on fire and go from there. Oh yeah, I can feel the heat on there. Get a little bigger wood on there. It's good to get out and humble yourself, no matter how long you've been doing it. A lifelong Alaskan, out trapping, hunting in this type of temperatures pretty much my whole life, and you do such a good job of avoiding these situations, being prepared and going through your equipment, and just, you know how critical it is to not ever have a situation like this, that sometimes you get so good at avoiding them, you don't get to practice or remind yourself how tough it could be when you're in them. Being prepared is key. It's life or death, really. Thanks for following along. Fire, 38 below, no axe, no saw. Chevy Roach from Life Below Zero. That feels good.